Hey, it's Teresa G coming in from her cluttered kitchen, or I should say again, one-armed kitchen, for Tip Tuesday. And this week I'm talking about preparing for holiday baking. Specifically when you need to have butter or cream cheese or something, or eggs, at room temperature before you start. Sometimes we get a little too involved in what's going on in our lives, and the day comes when grandma or whoever is coming over to help you do massive amount of baking, and you forget to take out the butter, you forget to take out cream cheese for your cheesecake, whatever it is, you forget to take it out. And all the recipes say for it to be room temperature. Well, I've come up with some tips to help you out with this. You just take it out a few minutes before you actually need it, and it should be ready to go after a few of these tips, okay? I'm going to start with butter. Anyway, okay? So, I'm going to start with butter. You know, all the recipes say cream the butter with the sugar. You take out your recipe the night before, but that morning you forget to take out the butter and let it sit so it comes to room temperature, so it's easy to work with. And you go, okay, I'm going to bake now, and then you realize you don't have warm butter. Okay, well, I've got two, actually three ways. Two I'll show you. One I'll just tell you about. Okay, so the first thing I do usually if I screw up and I forget is I take a zip top bag and cold water. Not hot water, not warm water. You would think you need warm water. You don't. Alright, put your stick of butter in a zip top bag. Doesn't matter what brand, doesn't matter what kind, as long as it doesn't have, of course, a hole down here somewhere. Okay, now this is what I do. I take some cold water, not hot water, not warm water, and I put it in. And if it doesn't stay, then I weigh it down. You give it about 10 minutes and you've got room temperature butter. Okay, obviously I'm not going to wait 10 minutes, but right now. Okay, that's one way. Okay, number two. Okay, and I saw this in an article in Bon Appetit magazine this morning. I've done this before, and it does work. But you also need about 10 minutes or so, okay? So you take your butter out of its plastic, and out of its wax paper. And, well, this is the way I do it. They said, I think, to cut it 3 times. You can cut it 3 times or 4 times. You cut it in the length of the butter, right? Okay, you cut it the length of the butter. Okay, you put the 3 together, and again you make 3, and that way you make 9 sticks basically of butter. Okay, and then, well, it doesn't matter if these little shards get on it or whatever. And then you just make cubes, okay? And then you kind of flatten the cubes out on a work surface, whether it be a cutting board or in a bowl or something. You like flatten it out a little bit. Okay, you don't let them sit on top of each other. And then you just let it sit. Do not put it on the kitchen window or any place where the sun is going to melt it. Alright, you do want it soft. You don't want it melted. Okay, you can even put it like in a, you can also do this. If you got about half an hour, I find that putting it into a measuring cup or something. Okay, that's another way. And And then there's a third way, which I'll just kind of give you an idea. Okay, you take your stick of butter, but it has to be frozen. Okay, you take your frozen stick of butter. All right, you take off the paper, and then you grate it. Okay, and once it's all grated, you can do the same thing. Either put it into a cup, lay it out on something, give it about 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and it'll be room temperature. It'll be at least soft enough for you to cream it with your sugar. Okay, now the idea of putting, now same thing with cream cheese. Okay, you're making you're making cheesecake, making little little mini cheesecakes, whatever it is. It's ice cold. You need it at room temperature for whipping, right? Do the same thing you did with the butter. Put it in a Ziploc bag. Stick it in cold water for 15 minutes. So, if you have more time than that, fine. Half an hour is even better. Okay? It'll be room temperature. Now, eggs. Okay, the same thing. You forgot to take them out. Okay? Now this time, I find that this way the water has to be warm. Not hot, not cold. Warm. Or even room temp. Okay? Ice cold eggs. Put them in, but make sure that the water goes exactly to the top. Alright? Or it's slightly over. You don't want it, you don't want it moving around or whatever, you just want it swimming in it. Okay? And you wait about 10-15 minutes and your egg will be warm to the touch instead of cold. If you, of course, again, if you have half an hour, even better. Just leave it in the water. I'd say the ultimate really is a half an hour, but really 10 minutes, 15 minutes will do. It'll be nice and warm, and that way you can cream it with your butter. Okay? Okay, so those are our pre-holiday baking tips for Tip Tuesday. Remember, either chop up the butter and leave it out for a little while, or wrap it in a plastic bag, suck out all the air, and stick it in cold water, weighed down if necessary. And always, and if you're making biscuits, pie dough, or scones, grate the butter and then either refrigerate it or freeze it, because those kind of recipes call for it to be really cold so that you can make your pie dough so it's light and flaky. Okay, same thing with biscuits and scones. You want them light and flaky. So grate the butter. And for eggs or cream, eggs, put them in warm water. And with cream cheese, same thing as the butter. Stick it in the baggie, put it in cool water, and give it about 15 minutes to a half an hour. Of course, the ultimate is take it out in the morning when you come downstairs. First thing, take out your eggs, your butter, your cream cheese, whatever you need, any kind of dairy that you need for recipes. Any recipe that calls for it to be room temperature. Take it out in the morning. It'll be ready to go 3, 4, 5 hours later. And you don't have to worry about it going bad. They're not going to go bad. Okay? And I hope this is really, really helpful to you this year in your holiday baking. Of course, press subscribe, press the bell, share the videos, and come back again for more tips at Reese's Cluttered Kitchen. Bye!